The situation is critical! Anyway. Hi, hello, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the first 20 seconds of the stream, when I said that, at least. We're past the 20-second mark now. Now we're into all of it. Now we're just deep in. Lorenz Retiro was what up? Soup is up for me. Adam Edgemond. Greetings, traveler. Just trying to find my position here. Trying to find my... Where do I go? How best does this work? Chicken soup! I hate to tell you, but yes, there was another soup. There was no live stream soup. You didn't miss any live stream. I had private soup. All just for me. It was my own private special soup, just for me. No sharing. I keep forgetting if I can touch focus this thing. RG1 Studios, Elson Quizmorio. I can tell you about my soup. It was very satisfactory, but I hit the point where my body was like, stop having soup. And I was like, yes. Yes, sir. Alex Lemons has arrived. Mortal Wombat, good soup. It was made out of pork leftover. It's my favorite soup to make right now. Got the idea from my mom, who got me onto the pork roast thing. So when you put pork in an oven, be it a roast, a butt chunk, whatever, and with things, you get it going. There's a bunch of goo left over behind, so you store all that goo, and then eventually you load that goo into a soup with some chopped vegetables, and you add a bit of water and some bouillon, and you're pretty well good to go. Genuinely, I can't remember if I reviewed Commodus. I think I did, but I can't remember. Either I did or I didn't, because I had a 3D printed part that I was like, oh, I should wait and make a video including this 3D printed part. And then, everything went really well. One thing I'll mention right off the bat to all 7 of you here. Army of Bees, hello. Pee-pee poo-poo is here. I'm probably going to clear my throat a lot because my soup had a bit of a grease, and that puts a bit of a phlegm in the throat. So I'm gonna try to Tcg it. Is that who I'm thinking of? Lean away from the microphone when I breathe. Thinking about a lot of old internet tonight. Not so Alex. I'm doing okay. What soup did I have? Pee-pee poo-poo. I had a soup that was primarily a vegetable and pea soup, with the base being a whole bunch of pork fat and pork grease from a pork roast I made 2 days ago. So it had a lot of that meaty oomph without any actual meat chunks in it, because I forgot I didn't have any, but I made the soup anyway. But, the thing I learned about pea soup, and my mom warned me about this, is there is a definite moment where it's like, you've had enough pea soup. Like, peas don't kid around. Those things are ruthless. Like, they also devour what's in the soup as you go. But you gotta keep adding water, even once the peas are soft. Keep adding water when you're leaving it alone. Those peas will drink everything. And you'll be like, I don't remember making pea stew. And the peas are like, yep, real funny, real random. Anyway. I am a fan, though. I am a fan. And I believe peas are somewhat good for you. Speaking as a nutritionist, I think peas have some kind of nutritional value. They definitely do gut stuff. Ransom Fern. I reviewed Spartan the Impactor, but not Commodus you just said his name, and I always forget his name. Turmoil. Okay, so I did Impactor, but not Turmoil. That explains it. I knew I did one of them. I think another reason I ended up not doing Turmoil is because once I had the 3D printed part, and then once I was like, oh, I should do this, Turmoil became incredibly rare, and that fell under my sadly common mindset of like, well, now I don't really want to review this because I'm just going to make people feel bad that they don't have it, which is silly. I've been informed by people who don't have a thing that I want to review that they're like, no, I still want to see coverage of it because I want to know what it's like if I ever track one down. And it's like, yeah, that's fair. I gotta remember what box I put them in. Because I'm a weirdo who likes to store toys in boxes. But anyway, my soup. I added a bunch more water and a little bit of steak seasoning salt, because why not? You know, funny laughs. And it's just kind of like on low now. It's just going to sit there for a while and think about what it did to me. That's right, Qualified Nutritionist Evangelist. It's another one of my sub-channels coming out very soon. Peas are the third best green vegetables behind broccoli and Brussels sprouts. God damn! I love broccoli. I don't make it enough, though, because broccoli is just annoying enough that I always would rather get something like, you know, fennel or other superfoods, asparagus. I like broccoli a lot, but like I like it better when someone else makes it, because making it is like not even hard. It's, for some reason I find it annoying. If there are any questions, by the way, about my pronunciation of broccoli, we're not fielding them right now, but we're just making sure you all know that you all, in fact, are the ones who are wrong. And honestly, I think it's pretty embarrassing how much you all keep insisting that it's otherwise. Like, stop embarrassing yourselves. If I can be honest, if I can be brutally honest. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I'm brutally honest. We don't pull punches here. Prophet 89. There is some infinity painting going on. Oh, broccoli. That's the variant. I don't collect those colorways. Let's say theoretically, could we pay you to eat a pea on stream? I don't like. I just watched a video on it, so I almost said I don't like the mukbang, which is irrelevant to what we're talking. Imagine, okay, you know what? No, I'm gonna do a whole different stream on another day. The grand pea mukbang, in which I eat one pea and then the stream is over. Have I had the pleasure of messing with any of the Revice figures or the remix modes yet? I have not. I only have like a couple from a Soto set, and I haven't built it yet. Oh, you guys are talking about all these interesting things. I say interesting things. San Francisco just declared water rationing. So interesting. So no more water-absorbing peas unless we steal water from LA for... LA doesn't need the water. Am I into processed food? You love Spam. I have 3 cans of Spam I bought when the pandemic lockdown began, and I still haven't used them for anything. I've been meaning to make Spam stir-fry for months. Because also, like, I understand, like, you know, part of the point of, like, canned food is it lasts, but I'm getting nervous about how long I've had my, you know, cans of Spam. And I was able to cross the threshold on using sardines in the last little while, so I feel like really Spam should be a nothing. So I have been meaning to. I've never had Spam. I'm gonna change that, hopefully in the next couple weeks. Because I keep buying other food. Spam will last a good 30 years. Yeah, but what if mine's wrong? What if I have the one Spam that's no good? Spam on fried rice is what I was thinking. Like fried Spam with some egg and onion and garlic. Put it over some rice. Maybe not fried. I would have to make rice first. Well, I could make rice first, I guess. What are your thoughts on 30M DLX figures? Reviews on Bumblebee DLX got you interested in their stuff. I think the MDLX stuff looks pretty cool. None of it's out yet, I don't think. So I don't really know how it's turned out yet, but I mean, I would be surprised if MDLX is not on par with the DLX stuff, like given that they're, you know, using the same name and everything. I would be rather shocked if it was not on par. So I think if you're down with that aesthetic, like, the figures should be good stuff. 3.0 has been kicking some asses lately. Like, someone at 3.0 really got into the idea of, hey, we could do stuff like what Sentinel does, except a little bit less expensive. We could be like another existing force in that oeuvre, and I think they're doing a good job. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention, I just got right into it because I'm really hot to finish these up. I am painting some Infinity stuff from Operation Crimson Stone, the current starter box, because I've made some little progresses here and there on these, and I'm getting really hype at the idea of actually having like this set painted. So I want to push on at least the SAS here. Because I recently, where'd it go? I have to varnish him still, so I'm being careful. I just finished up the Volkalak, and I'm very happy with him. I was gonna highlight the green on his pants because it's just a contrast coat. Then I was like, you know, I actually kind of like how they're sort of mushed out, but then everything else is a bit punchier. So I'm hype on this. So I'd like to get the SAS up to this point, but I also don't want to stream for like 4 hours tonight because I started late. I was sitting there and I was like, I want to paint, and then I was sitting there and I was like, my soup was good, and I was sitting there some more and I was like, I want to stream a little bit. Why not? Let's hang out and talk about soup. Will you pick up Flame Toys Banzaitron? That's a Furai model, right? Because yeah, the Furai model stuff is like, I've so far noticed that when I actually like encounter Furai model in the wild, I'm like, dang, that's cool. Maybe after I build some other stuff. So I haven't yet. I've found Studio Series Thrust. I've seen Studio Series Thrust everywhere. I just don't really want to spend money on him. I want someone to give me one, if that makes any sense. I got Studio Series that, but Starscream, which I kind of like transforming that toy, but I don't really want to buy another one yet. Thrust's colors I find kind of middling. Ransom Fern. I almost said Ransom Phlegm, and that's really rude. I apologize. Ransom Fern. I don't know where the L came from. My Shinkocho Seiyo Shadow Moon has arrived. I didn't know about the rubber sleeves on the joints till I was messing with it, and then I put it back in the box, and I was like, I should wait a little bit and look at this later. I'm a little bummed out about the rubber coverings. They're smooth rubber coverings, so it's like, you know, probably something that could be replaceable down the road, but they feel incredibly unnecessary to me. I really like the swappable hips. That part's really cool. And then when I swapped the hips, I was like, this rubber sleeve is making this harder for like very little gain. I don't know. I don't like that they're getting this whole like 112 collective, the Hot Toys mindset on Shinkocho Seiho. It's absolutely unnecessary. Prophet 89, you have an 012 box set you need to figure out. I missed the 012 action pack for like $40 off on an eBay page because I thought no one else was looking at it, and that might have been what spurred me to buying into some Infinity stuff on that same eBay page. Oh yeah, the Spotty Zenithal. I just go over it with lots and lots of stuff till it goes away. Razor, sorry, I'm catching up on chat now. I'm not painting. Razor 1. Have you seen Shayna Baszler has been basing her ring gear on Warhammer stuff? I saw that across my Twitter timeline. That's neat. Mortal Wombat, do you have any interest in the new 3.0 stuff from the Kickstarter? Yes. So it's not actually really a 3.0. It's still 2.0. The rules are all the same. It's all compatible. It's just in plastic with a new graphic design on the cards. And, like, it's a ridiculous deal. Like, when they open late pledges up on the core box, I'm hopefully going to be able to upgrade my pledge to include the core box. Because now the core box has, like what, 20 monsters and a pile of buildings? And the buildings in plastic alone are really worth it on that thing. Cygnus 7, we're chilling out talking about soup and painting an Infinity here. An Infinity Folk. Do I have any advice about Black Friday consumption? Yeah, stay home. If you want to buy stuff, do it on the internet. Make in-person Black Friday bad for companies, so they... I don't know. Actually, that's not going to really make them treat their workers better, but hopefully it's a start. Yeah, the thrust, I don't even buy the turtleneck, to be honest. But, like, yeah, that mold is actually pretty good, like, you know, given that it just turns into a threatening shape. I am way the hell behind on this chat. Holy crap, y'all. Good Wednesday evening to everybody. Rankin Bass. I haven't had TV since 2011, so I don't see those anymore. They're springing! Yeah, it's not. I'm in Canada. I don't know what y'all are doing. I was planning another podcast recording, and then like TJ was like, "Well, Thursday is Thanksgiving," and I was like, "Oh right, it's Funny Turkey Juice Day over there." I forgot. I mean, it's, you know, we already had Thanksgiving in Canada. I really gotta get to the bottom of this. Acan Lord, greetings, Terrans. What's TV? TV is well, Twitch used to have another site called Justin. That's basically what TV is. No one really knows about Justin anymore. By the way, what I'm doing on this is, on all the stuff that's going to be black, the current thing I really like doing for black, on Infinity models especially, is I do like a really stark highlight in Frostbite from P3, and then I do a contrast Black Templar glaze over top, and I like the effect a lot. It just makes it, like, it's, you know, it's a certain look, like you're going to be into it or not, but I like what it does. And it makes the stuff just look like, you know, mildly, coldly highlighted in a way that I enjoy. I'm not into, though, the little something that's going on. Hang on, where's my coal black gone? I was, like, gonna change my wet palette before I did this stream, but then I was like, well, there's 3 colors on here I still want to use, and they're still wet, so, you know, here we are. Getting my money's worth out of this red grass palette paper, baby. Mortal Wombat, the core box now has 23 or 24 monsters, 24 buildings, 93 units. Yeah, so bear in mind, those monsters are 20 to 30 Canadian a piece. Those buildings are 16 to 25 Canadian a piece. Like, the sculpt won't be as crisp as the resin and metal, but, like, it's still going to be pretty crisp. How much unedited footage do you think you've accumulated now? Oh, I don't even know. Sodo alone is countless hours when I was filming putting, like, stickers on before I realized how fruitless an idea that was. Like, it was affecting my enjoyment of putting the stickers on. I should mention, because it came up, I have not seen Hit Monkey. I did just watch Shang-Chi, though. Because I realized I had that channel on my little stick. Elson Kuzmorio, what's your opinion on recent Kamen Riders? Looking back, the first wave of Heisei Riders is really cool. I generally think Kamen Riders are pretty cool. Like, not to kind of just give the blanket answer, but it is also kind of where I'm at. I'm just like, yeah, Kamen Riders, I like them. I like them since like 2001, so it's not a big jump for me. I feel fortunate that I got to get into them in 2001. Not that it's any worse to get into them now, but I'm like, it gives me a greater appreciation for what is being made available now. With Sodo, I actually don't really like stickers a lot. Sodo stickers I very specifically like because they are some of the nicest stickers I've ever handled. Even then, it's got to be like from build wave 5 onwards, and there's still going to be some stinkers here and there, but Sodo stickers are... I have not seen a better sticker sheet on something mass-produced than on a Sodo piece. Like, the paper they use is, like, borderline magical to me. I say all this, by the way, I still have friends for whom they have tried it, and they're like, nah, it still sucks. But, like, for some reason, Soto sticker paper, I find really satisfying to apply. Whereas, I put the stickers on that Gen Select's Galvatron, and they weren't bad, like, compared to bad sticker sheets, but they also weren't great, and their placements were not, some of their placements were not smart, really. I should also mention, when I do stickers on Soto things, I don't use my fingers, I'm using this for the most part, which makes it also a billion times easier. Have you stickered any of the X-Cross Saber forms or stories from book 9 and 10? Not yet. I only got up to book 6. The rest of them are on my my backlog box pile. And I think that's all the black on this one. Yeah, I got a whole ass paint and everything, thinking like, oh, I'm gonna highlight this nice contrast paint I got for the greens, and I'm actually quite, I don't know, I'm quite pleased with how the greens look. I don't really feel like I have to do anything to them, so I'm not. I think I'm gonna leave this one to dry up a little bit, and I'm gonna skip ahead a little here. I'm also gonna get going on the Zenit, because this one I've been kind of, I'm not sure what I want to do with some of this one, so I'm just gonna start doing things, and then we'll see what happens. The Gundam stickers that need to do enclosure stuff, this is what's bonkers to me. Those are by Bandai as well. There's Soto stuff that does enclosure, and sometimes it's just magical to me how it comes together, and also how it, like, is heat manipulatable because of the vinyl in the material. And then, like, I mess with Gundam stickers, I don't know, Gundam stickers always feel kind of, like, more papery to me. Toy Hack stickers are also pretty darn cool. My caveat was, like, I think Soto are really good mass-produced ones. Toy Hacks are still... I mean, they make lots of them, but Toy Hack stickers are still, like, not the same production run size as, like, what Mega House does for Soto. But, yeah, Toy Hack's label sheets, I think, are the best adhesive label sheets I've messed with, because they are made, like, you know, as a sort of bespoke product, so I guess it's more to be expected. The other thing about Soto I find so impressive is I have all this praise to say, and it is like a, you know, still a sub 500 yen per box candy toy line. There's a level of quality that did not have to be achieved with Soto, but it was achieved regardless. A little fast and loose here with this clothes. Just a little bit fasty loosey. A little bit goosey gandery. Because ideally, I'd like to put like a kind of camo pattern onto this poncho. But I don't know how camo patterns work, and I watched some YouTube videos, and I still don't know how they work. So I'm just gonna try it. Calvin J, that rotating handle thing was convenient. This is a red grass painting handle. I got this because I got the red grass wet palette off of a Kickstarter right before lockdown. So this was like an easy thing to bundle in. It's nice because like it comes with a bunch of different things. So you can stick, you know, you can pull them off and stick them on without having to grab the miniature. A really decent painting handle though, and oddly affordable, is the Citadel one. Like, Citadel is not usually like a name you associate with affordable, but their paint handle type stuff and like their little paint water cups, pretty darn good for what they cost and pretty useful. Like these are fine. They're quite grippy. They use a spring lock thing, so you can't really paint the base rim with these. The red grass ones come with a really sticky putty. But yeah, like the Citadel paint cup, silliest thing in the world to say. I bought a special paint cup, but it's got like ribs on the inside, which are really good at getting paint to come off. Hello, Nebulos! What was I doing? I got the front. Yeah, I gotta do the back now. Oh, Verspringen. Sometimes the polish just doesn't grip on. What I would do is immediately just like try again, and if the same thing happens, then I'd probably just say like there's something on the plastic that is rejecting the polish, and I'd probably try another solution. In a ball joint situation, another thing one can do is put a little bit of tissue paper into the ball socket joint, and that tissue paper just kind of creates friction. Like, off the top of my head, I wonder if, like, the plastic has, like, some kind of mold release. Like, not to say the word just because I've been working with metal and resin miniatures for the last little while, because, like, obviously that's polluting my brain, but there could just be, like, some kind of mold release on it or something that's not allowing the floor polish to create a grip, I suppose. That's not hair, right? This isn't hair. No. It's just got yellow on it. How dare. I feel like my focus is going in and out whenever I'm not looking at it, but that could just be paranoia. Oh, Alison Quizmorio, thank you. Those Toy Hacks video projects are fun to do when they come up. I'm just glad that they're down with me taking those kind of creative liberties as a contractor. It has, in essence, helped me like keep my my gut time muscles evolving. Yeah, sponge, little bits of paper. If it's like a really thick ball joint, I think you could even make like a bit of a card shim, like anything that creates more friction. Am I still buying third-party stuff? A little bit, yeah. I got the Magic Square Menasor because I thought it looked really cool. And I'm hoping at TFCon next month I can track down that Mastermind rung in person, because that would be neat. Pie in the sky, I'd really like to get, like, you know, a couple of the Iron Factory Scourge, but that's a whole bunch of money all of a sudden. It's interesting how much more difficult it, like, I was thinking about this. I think I talked about this on the last stream, actually. I'm just realizing this anecdote, it feels very familiar in my mouth. I was thinking a couple weeks ago in the shower about how, like, it's not actually remotely possible as a commenter in the space of converting robot toys that generally look like Transformers. It's kind of impossible to, on one's own, just keep up with everything, have an opinion on everything, and have coverage pieces and everything. I remember that, yeah, we talked about this because that's how we got on the topic of, like, a toy library, and I was like, yeah, if you could just, like, borrow toys to see how they work. That would be really neato. But it is a shame, because it runs a little concurrent, I think, to still the way a lot of folks talk about toys, where it's like, oh, did you pick this thing up? And you're like, oh, no, I haven't. And then it kind of inherently comes with this notion of, oh, you don't think it looks any good? And it's like, no, I just don't have infinite money. Yeah, it sounds like they're doing like a full production run on Rung as well. So I'm like I'm not gonna be heartbroken if I can't get it at TFCon, because it seems like the same thing that happened with where's the box? With Eris. Thing that happened with Eris is happening with that Rung, where it's like, it turns out people do like Rung. I think that a lack of a smiling face on Rung is exactly the kind of thing to bring up in... I'm not going to tell people to go on Facebook, but like wherever it is that Mastermind has, you know, social media presence, like, that seems like a thing to mention. Is like, oh, it'd be really cool if you guys were to come up with a smiling face for Rung, and like cite why and how that would make it the perfect Rung. You can put ideas in heads that way. You know, not like, oh, it's terrible how you guys screwed it up. And you just go like, oh, it'd be really cool. This would be a really good topper on this piece. I would love this. This painting stream I watched on YouTube, that guy said he'd love it too, and he wants to buy one at TFCon. You'll sell at least 2 if you do this. What's my usual line? There will be tens of pre-orders. I think that Rung just being naturally slender and skinny probably is messing with some perceptions as well. Like I think it looks about what I expect. Maybe he's a little bit super robot-y in having, like, you know, slightly smaller head. Yeah, there's an official DX Macross Valk at like all the normal American retailers. Is bonkers. It is a 25, but I think didn't they do a bunch of work on the 25 or something? It's not like the original 20, like the 25 I got rid of, the OG. Narahian, what kind of paint do you use? Acrylic. It's probably not the answer you're looking for, but I'm using a mixture of, I got Vallejo, I got Citadel, I got Army Painter. Those are the 3 big ones. But also Formula P3 is a secret little stash of mine I really like. Am I caught up on IDW 2? I am actually a couple months behind, but seeing you mention House makes me happy because I love me some Termagax. I'm like, I think I'm about 3 or 4 months behind now on all the IDW stuff. I've still been getting it, like with the, you know, Comixology subscriptions. I just gotta sit down and have a reading. What's happening with the Fans Toys combiners? I think that on Hard Return's big collage picture, actually no, this is gonna be me dunking on the 4Max thing. It's not the same thing. I think that what they did is that they've made 4 out of 5 Stunticons and are realizing when they make the 5th one, they have to have an answer for how it's gonna work, and I think that it's gonna be a while. I find Fans Toys seems to do like, here's a CAD model of a robot mode, and then they'll show it off, and then they'll figure it out afterwards. I think they might have put themselves in a little corner. Oh, acrylic was the answer you needed. Hooray! Yeah, I'm using water-based acrylic. That's the main thing. Yeah, IDW1 didn't really have women in it until Dark Cybertron, and then it was another while before it was like, you know, not an event, I guess. It's one of the nice things about IDW2 is they got to skip over all that nonsense. Shoelaces, that's what I want to hit with this. I mean, I think it's reasonable to assume that Fans Toys will do the Zeta Toysy thing that all of, you know, a demographic in that demographic really like, of like, it's gonna be a combiner, and then you will slot the Stunticons into it, except I don't feel it's gonna be done in as exciting a way as Magic Squares or conceptually DX9s, where there's like play pattern to it. I think it's gonna be rather... I generally assume cynicism in design with Fans Toys when they could be really creative or daring. I generally suspect it's going to be, how do we make the cartoon model, and how do we make a one-way transformation that no one wants to do, but it looks good in a photo, and then it's done. I was about to say I don't mean to sound so down, but also I kind of do. I don't usually have lots of nice stuff to say about what I see out of Fans Toys, other than they look good in photos, I guess. And DX9, I should say DX9's, I think, was really cool, but it was like they released a TS2, like a Test Shot 2. X-Transbots, if they didn't do that base mode, I think would have turned out way better. I think that base mode ended up overcomplicating that whole project, because everything I read about it as far as structural lack of integrity is like, well, it all sounds like it stems from having to do 3 modes, one mode of which no one really caring about. My apologies to any base mode lovers in the chat. I think y'all are the minority. I mean that with love. I think especially when you're doing the impossible task of like trying to figure out Cartoon Menasor, the last thing you need to do is like, oh, how do we get a base mode in here? So it's like you're already solving some Getter Robo tier nonsense here. Like maybe just calm down for a second. But you know what I'll say is, I still like that it kind of imploded a bit because of over-eagerness. That's like, if something falls apart because they were trying to do too much, and they were trying to do too much in like an eager way, like something that kind of evokes an eager tone, then I'm like, you know what though, I'm happy you tried. Like that's still neat, you know. In the pantheon of stuff falling apart, I'd rather something fall apart because they tried so hard to do something they thought was cool, as opposed to, this didn't turn out. If I had to pick Deluxe Cyberverse, Windblade, or Tarn, that's cruel. Windblade. Tarn design is good, but if I have to pick one, Windblade via tenure. Windblade was in enough of that show. We're using Tarn as shorthand, by the way, you know, just for that design that's, you know, people saw like a season ago, because I still want to say, no one in the UK is able to watch Cyberverse Season 4, so I'd like, I said this last time, I'd like to go a little bit, like, let's avoid, like, dropping, like too many deets on Cyberverse Season 4. Just for the sake of our UK friends who are in a truly frustrating and ridiculous position. I'm saying this in the hopes that I'm Murphy's Lawsing myself, and that, like, UK folks have got like a a non-legal alternative to see that season. Cyberverse Deluxe Wheeljack or Slipstream? Slipstream. Yeah, Slipstream, sorry. I like that Wheeljack design. That Wheeljack does matter after the first season, but Slipstream has a lot of impact in her appearances in that show, and I gotta say Slipstream. If I were ever in a position where like some Hasbro person like decided to like tap me for these things, it would be like me like tied up in a chair, and they're like, okay, pick one. And I'd just be sitting there going like, you bastards, you sons of, you bastards. Slipstream, Slipstream. If I have to pick, it's Slipstream. But you know they both deserve it. And then they'd stuff the gag back in my mouth. Slipstream won. Slipstream or Shadow Striker. That's where they have to friggin' tranquilize me, because I'm just trying to get out. I'm trying to physically burst out of the ropes that are tied me to the chair. Just like, you're sick. You're sick. You're not human. You're a monster. You're sick. Filch or anything else. Slipstream got an official couple of mass release figures in Cyberverse. It's just that they all kind of sucked. She got a bad Ultra, which is a shame because the Ultras actually are secretly a very decent size class in Cyberverse when they turn out well. But she got a kind of bad Ultra, and she got a Wave 1 Warrior when the gimmick would sort of hobble parts of the basic construction of the figures. So Slipstream got official Cyberverse toys, just she didn't get good ones. That's the bummer. She got a Warrior toy, but she got one too early. And then they never came back to her. Rid 15 in Generations. Boy, I hope. That's the other thing, right? Is like, I've slowly started to realize the usual nostalgia science of Transformers. I don't know what that is past the live action movies, when the general perception of Transformers wholesale changed. Like, what is nostalgia for the post-movie lines, and how likely is it to actually manifest? Like, we're getting I guess Legacy is kind of like a weird version of it, but I don't know, it still feels different to me than like what I think of, or what I guess I should say what I'm thinking of that we might see. Like, I think it's less about we get Generations Rid 2015, and it's more like someone puts Rid 2015 characters into a new line, and it's like back in 06 in Cybertron, when that was the length of the homages you got, was like, hey, we repainted the old man robot in Cup colors, who also was an old man, and you're like, dang, that's clever. I remember Cup. And like, that was the gist of it. Boomer Transformers fan recalls pre-2007 nostalgia bait. Picky Peeves! I led the stream off talking about some soup I made in 8, and have been painting the whole time. That's kind of about it, really. At some point, all the G1ers will be dead. No, we'll have a couple of those G1er dads who force-fed their kids into having to have their same nostalgia glasses. It will be eternal. Do you think the red line is dead? I think that if anything else exists for red, it's going to quietly come out, and then it'll be like a neat headline one day where they're like, hey, red knockout found at Walgreens or something. I kind of doubt that they're making more red. I think whatever red will be has been finished on the sculpt and design level, is my suspicion. I don't think it was made to be a project for like multiple years. G1 or dads, because it's always dads. Yeah. Otaku00110, I did hold on to my Microblaze Onslaught, because I really like that thing. He lives in a Detolf with my little museum of Fall of Cybertron Bruticus things. I still have fondness for everything that came out for that guy. Yes, everything. Yeah, even those ones. I do not have the energy to stick up for any of those toys, but for what they were in that very brief window in which they were new, I think they are still really cool for having ever happened. And then they're an incredible conversation piece for like how the entire toy industry kind of changed in the early 2010s with the oil costs rising, and how those Fall Cybertron toys are like quite literally examples of what happens when that happens. One of these days I'm going to finish reviewing the other two of those I never did videos for. It's going to be really funny, I think. Just popping one of those out in 2025. Like, I'm here with a review of 2013 Vortex. Oh, Graham, I actually don't have any of the Fall of Cybertron records. I did not go, because those aren't Bruticus. Those ones, I liked the head sculpts on all of those, and there was a period where I was like, I'd love to pick these up. But then they never went on sale the way that I wanted them to, and so I never picked them up. I do remember Hasbro's Mark Webber telling me that he really was interested in the third-party upgrade sets for those things at a BotCon once. That was neat. I feel like we didn't get enough Mark Webber. That guy seemed friendly. That guy seemed like, I hope that he's not like secretly like monstrous, but he seems really friendly. You know that very specific vibe when, like, you want someone to not be monstrous? I feel like I've projected that at some point. Like, in an age where everyone can turn out to be pretty horrible, you know, folks have had to very justifiably have some caution with, like, oh, I hope Chris Vangelis isn't a monster. I think it's good to be on your guard nowadays. I'll say it quietly on this stream. I'm endeavoring to not be a monster, so like I'm not gonna go out of my way to disappoint anyone, so hopefully we're all not mostly because partly part of that I just don't want to be a monster, but also generally monsters people are really irritating. Worse than a monster, you're a Decepticon. Kind of thing an Autobot would say. Hard to deal with behind the scenes with his dressing room demands. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not gonna hide that. I'm proud of that because I'm classy. If you want to have me on your show, you got to treat me right. I'm worth it. I'm a fancy boy who deserves his berries and cream. Bodily. Why would you say berries and cream? I went into my brain into a bucket of words that would fit the end of that sentence, and those ones came up to the top. And as I said them, I was like, oh. And I said them anyway. How do you think the new Megazord, I'm guessing you mean the Zord Ascension Project Megazord, will compare to the SOC? I think it might be more fun to play with. Because I actually don't really like the Soul of Chogokin Megazord very much. I got one on sale years ago. And I don't think it's a bad figure, but I expected more out of it. And I just found I was a little bit disappointed with the end result. It felt like it wasn't, how do you put it? It wasn't aiming for those eager heights I was talking about earlier, I guess. Like, it's an oddly risk-averse Soul of Chogokin. I do also feel bad saying that, because I know that the Soul of Chogokin Zyuranger Power Ranger stuff became, like, hard to get. So, like, you know, I don't want to dunk on people's grails, but, like, I found the Megazord was kind of wanting. Do I own anything from Car Robots or RID? Yeah, my very first BotCon was the BotCon where Car Robots was fresh in the dealer room, and I bought all of it because I was a spoiled little teenager brat. And then I, for whatever reason, rebought all of it when RID came out because I was so fascinated that all my Japanese BotCon toys were on shelves, and I had some, like, temp work or something. I was able to just march into Toys R Us and then, like, buy the entire first wave. Because I should have never been allowed to have lots of money. That was honestly society's fault, though, not mine. Yeah, Picky Peeves, I mean, I'm not going to tell anyone what to think. I don't think anyone working on the Zord Ascension project was down. I don't think the guys doing the NFT presentation were down with what was happening. But also, you know, actions have consequences. I don't think it's unreasonable to feel like there's a stink on the project that you don't want to go near. I would say there's a chance that stink might de-waft by the time that project actually comes out, whenever it comes out. But, like, yowza, that was a great way to just put, like, a big ol', like, fart on a really exciting thing. Chris Vangelis, blamer of society. Hell yeah. How come we get EV Games and Toys R Us? Well, we have EV GameStop now, but yeah, you guys have Smith's. Yeah, like, Smith's had a bunch of stuff last month. I saw UK folks were like, wow, Smith's got toys. That's not helping, is it? Seastriker 87, what Megazords do you think will get made in the Zap? Thinking, like, one a year, maybe? I would say that they're probably, the goal is probably one a year. For now, I would say, like, be more prepared for one every 2 years to 1.5 years. Like, I'd say keep expectations at, like, 1.5 to 2 years, and then, like, if it becomes yearly, then it's like, hey, cool. I do think that they plan to do, like, at least all the Mighty Morphin nostalgia-related stuff, though. Like, that's gotta be part of the goal. But, I mean, having said that, I wouldn't be astonished if it was just the one. Like, it might just be too big and weird a project to do multiple times, but... Has Canadian Post gotten better or worse over the plague? It's kind of the same. I can't order things from America anymore, though, because shipping from America to Canada is now routinely at least 20 Canadian dollars for anything. And that's too much. I don't want to pay that for shipping. So there's a lot of stuff I just don't engage with if I can only get it in America now. So the cost is just too high, especially with the, like, still the dice roll chance of paying customs on top of that. Or on eBay, just paying customs on top of that. And it's like, all right, well, now it's like 20 bucks plus 15 bucks. Like, this sucks. So it has limited me from, like, some purchases, but also it just meant I found other things to purchase. Hey, what's up? I'm Infinity, the miniatures game. Yeah, with the Zord Ascension project, I think, like, I would, especially if you're, like, you know, if you're super into Power Rangers, I would say this, the healthiest thing to do right now is, like, just focus, deadlock focus on that original Megazord they're doing, and like, that project, and see how it turns out. Because I think there's like a good, like, probably like 20% chance it's the only one. I'm gonna do my glaze now on this, I think. You think we'll get Fig Arts Build Genius first or 02 first? Oh, I think 02 first. Because I think 02 shares some parts, maybe? I can't remember anymore. I looked at the Sotos and I knew once, but I've forgotten. I feel like 02 is just more likely. Build Genius, I think they still got to figure out how they're going to do mass production on all those colors. You could have a Transformer in a 1-to-1 scale and it could transform. Who would you get? I mean, I'd get Fortress Maximus, so I'd be the king of the planet, because I'd have a giant city-sized flying fortress, and you'd all have to listen to me. Oh, Fig Art 02 is actually being made to height. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I like that. To me, that's the best version. Who needs affordable housing when I live in a flying fortress that turns into a robot? And everyone answers to me! That's right, never give me power. I'd just become the bad version of Dr. Doom. Yeah, I forgot, yeah, you can just get a planet now. Yeah, I just get Unicron, and I'd be like, what's up? Don't cross me. Yeah, I wouldn't hold out for Fig Arts modern final forms right now. I think that Fig Arts really is, like, it's fighting what it should just do, which is just focus on Shinkocho Seiho and give Modern Rider to, like, to Soto and RKF. Take it easy, Ransom Fern. It's interesting that the Proton Pack was funded and the Rancor is failing. I think it's because Ghostbusters, like, kooky mega fans extends into the maker community, and I think that there is a deeper well there than Star Wars figures collectors. Although we're talking about two giant gaping holes in the floor, but, like, I think that the maker community getting in on that Proton Pack was probably a big part of it too. We boosted Soto's budget again. I kind of like that it's on a creep though. I like that they make so much out of a limited palette. What do you think of HasLab Victory Saber? I think it looks cool. The HasLab Transformers I enjoy, with this, like, the stated motivation being we're not making masterpieces, we're making, like, mainline version of, you know, X toy. Like HasLab Unicron is not Masterpiece Unicron. It is a limitless budget mainline Unicron, which for me and my taste, I think is really fascinating. Like, I actually really dig that stuff. Yeah, for transparency, I also backed Victory Saber. So, like, I like that backer update they put out. I mean, it's not just for backers, it's wholly public, which is fine. But that was already a step above my expectations, like, just showing us them planning the steel toolings. Like, that's cool. I like that. That's the kind of thing I would like to see out of a backer update for a toy. Show me you making it. My big ask that I don't think they can do would be tell us when something you want to do doesn't go right, and you're trying to figure out how to make it, how to compromise. I want to know the dirty story. I want to know the nitty gritty. Jackpot's head seemed like, actually, a couple of folks who said it looked fine in the photo I took, and it's in the front, the main problem from the front is just the misaligned silver paint, but on the top and the back, it's literally misaligned sculpt wise. It doesn't actually like look horrendous in person. It's just sort of a bummer, because you're like, well, something's crooked and I can't fix it because the head's glued together. I will say, because I saw the question come up on Twitter, Jackpot doesn't seem to have, like, I can't spot any notable molding differences on the scary bit. Admittedly, I don't find that part super scary myself. But I see how it can crack. I think it's mostly that the transformation on that design is like, it has a very specific order of operations that is pretty easy to forget about when you're messing with it, and I think that's really the bigger problem. But one can easily say, like, well, why should on a mainline toy one have to worry about that kind of stuff anyway? And it's like, yeah, you're not off the mark. But oh, I just bought Jackpot on Amazon in Canada, and it shipped. Or I pre-ordered it, I should say, and it shipped. And thankfully it showed up as well, which is, not always a sure thing, unfortunately. But yeah, that was just mine was just a Canadian Amazon pre-order. Yeah, of all things for Amazon, see it again. It was Jackpot and Sights. Well, it's worth it for Sights. Sights is cool. What else can I say? Jackpot's colors are pretty stellar, I think, in person. The car mode looks very cool with those colors. Definitely would have preferred if they just got Terrorsaur in that early instead. Myself. Or Orange Tigatron, because I've never messed with the Tigatron. I've never seen that Tigatron mold anywhere. But that's just new toy smell stuff. Like Jackpot's head sculpt, this is kind of the tragedy of the head sculpt having problems in production. It's a really good head sculpt. Like, he's got his helmet is a little car. It's got wheels on the back and everything. Like, it looks like his head could transform into a tiny car and detach. I'd imagine I feel bad for the Joe fans and will not get their Sky Striker. I haven't kept up with any of that HasLab stuff. Is that Sky Striker not... Is that in Rancor territory? I'm kind of amazed the Rancor is not happening. I thought that there'd be, like, comic nerds getting all up in that. tiers weren't good and everyone backed out. That's odd to me. I mean, the tier thing also, I said this on the podcast about the Star Saber, like, having like, the tiered unlock things is really weird when, like, your existing backers can't really do anything about it. I don't really get people backing out, though, because, like, if it doesn't get funded, it doesn't get funded. I feel that way about Kickstarters, too. I don't really understand the, like, oh, I'm pulling my pledge, because it's like, well, if it doesn't get funded, they don't take your money, so... I also feel like, this is just me. This is probably just me. I feel really weird that, like, the simultaneous discourse around HasLab projects is, why are they doing a crowdfund and the stretch goals aren't cool enough? Like, I feel weird that feels like the simultaneous conversation. Because I feel like one of those, like, the one about why are they doing a Kickstarter, or a crowdfund, I should say, in the first place, is like, then why do you care about the stretch goals? But... I don't know. I feel like inherently with HasLab stuff, you're kind of... The focus is the thing they're showing day one. The stretch goals are I wouldn't expect any of them to be groundbreaking. And I think the Marvel Legends stretch goals have kind of soured the entire thing, because Marvel Legends operates on a buck system where they could just kind of just go like, hey, we made a cool head to go on this body with these arms, and now it's this character. And, like, they can't do that with Transformers. I guess they could do it with Star Wars, but I don't know, like... Rancor tiers are existing figures, but on cards. See, to me, I feel like that's answering the critique on the Jabba car. Because that one had, like, a figure on a card that was really cool, but, like, the figure was unique or something? I might be I'm probably misremembering. So I feel like, yeah, if you do, like, a fancy retro card, then you'd want the figure to be one that you don't want to open. I don't know. I don't want to like sit here like trying to psych eval all this stuff too much, because, like, demonstrably I'm a little bit distant from the folks who are the most interested, so I don't want to sit here going like, I don't understand what... Speaking of someone whose engagement with Star Wars is primarily cartoons, I don't understand the psychology of what's going on with this Rancor thing. The thing about simultaneous HasLab projects interfering with each other is something I used to think right up front, but I very quickly started to think, like, well, then again, I feel like it's weird to assume that every HasLab like, I don't know. I think that Hasbro wants there to be more people who are Hasbro fans versus franchise fans, but I just feel like with, like, you know, like, currently, I'm like, well, the Joe fans have one, the Star Wars fans have one, and the Ghostbusters and Maker people have one. And, like, there's, you know, there is criss crossover in some of those communities for sure, but I feel weird about the notion that, like, well, they can't have two campaigns because everyone collects everything. And it's like, that's probably a problem, though. But I didn't put a lot of thought into that either. Like, that was very much a look at my phone and then, like, anyway, I'm gonna go take a shower, and I'm gonna think about it while I'm in the shower, because I can't turn my brain off. I very much do think, based on that last PulseCon, that Hasbro really likes the idea that a whole lot of us are Hasbro fans versus, you know, Transformers or Star Wars or whatever fans, and that we don't love X, Y, and Z, that, oh, we love Hasbro properties, like, that they would like that to be the language. I think that someone, not like Hasbro on the whole, like, Hasbro's made of a bajillion, you know, people, but, like, there is, I think, a top-level force at Hasbro that really is into the idea of, like, oh, what if, though, people just talked about the word Hasbro instead of the word, you know, Transformers or whatever. Or at least said Hasbro first. You know, you look at a you look at a Paramount, for instance, and how much they would also love for people to think Paramount rather than, like, you know, Beavis and Butthead and South Park and etc. This is all just me kind of spitballing in, like, current context, too. Like, I don't think this is, like, some kind of long-term disaster. I think it's just a thing that is very clearly not catching on that, like, folks will get over. But it's based on stuff that I also thought wouldn't catch on that did catch on, which is stuff like, you know, the fact that people kind of talk about Disney like that at times. I am guilty of, too, of doing that, of kind of saying, like, oh yeah, Disney properties. A lot of companies would love it if they could be talked about in that same kind of sometimes inadvertently reverent tone. There's always a danger when talking about this kind of stuff, though, of, like, starting to talk about the company like a person. And it's always important to, like, pause now and then and go, like, also, corporations aren't people, and there are cool people who work at them, and it's possible to dig those people's work and those people as creatives while not attributing the quality of their work to the entire company they work at. Or vice versa, something else, you know, in similar tones. I'm kind of just playing around with this poncho because I actually don't really know what I want to do with it. What I will say... Oh, someone named Sean. Sean Crosser! Lunchtime over back to work. Take it easy, Sean. Yeah, legally speaking. Well, legally speaking, my... legally speaking, my boot is up corporations... ass, because I kicked it. You tell the judge I said that. Hello, Rothy and Fairmoon. You arrived at a wonderful time, I suppose. see here that smooth line I just dropped. Oh, I didn't know that a Sky Striker just got a reissue at Target a few years ago. Knowing that would actually explain some things. Ordinary nobody. It's going alright. It's going alright. I had some good soup that I made. And I talked about it a bit. And I wanted to stream because I wanted to make some progress on these Ariadne models from Infinity. And I felt like I needed that streamer energy to do it. And it's demonstrably working. I was going to say, y'all are helping me a lot. Because I am making big progress on these. On all three of the remaining ones. I don't know that I'm going to finish them all tonight. But I would like to have them in a state where I could quickly touch them up and say they're done tomorrow. Because then I would have finished half of that box set. I'll feel super cool. Selfishly, I am sometimes motivated by feeling super cool. But I want more Jedi unique characters for Star Wars Legion. I would like them to I would like them to feel like how do I put this? Unique editions. Like, they've done that for a lot of the ones that show up. Oh, Monster Apocalypse painting. Yeah, I keep getting focused in on other things. I still don't know what I want to do for some of the Monster Apocalypse stuff, which means it needs to be a stream because I seem to make creative decisions a lot faster when I'm doing these streams. Yeah, I would like to bosh some Monster Apocalypse stuff out Infinity's on my mind because I really want to play this, and I think if I paint the starter set, I'm gonna feel really really pumped up to start like hitting that Code 1 rule set, because I read through the rules a bunch and I really like the way that they read. What's the next soup project? Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I can't talk about soup projects. I'm under NDA. I think the other reason why I'm really fixated on these Infinity models, also I really like the lore, but because they are metal miniatures, and I found that rather intimidating until I started like painting them. And this is already after painting a bunch of metal Riot Quest miniatures, but like these Infinity sculpts are so greebly, they are just devouring like washes and contrast inks and glazes and stuff, and it's really fun poking at them. I also have super glue activators, which has made the assembly side of these a whole lot less scary too. Because I found the cheat code. Have I considered reviewing KFC Kingzilla? I have not, because I didn't want to buy them. That's another one where it's like, if someone gave me one and said review it, then I probably would have, but no one did. Nor do I expect anyone to. I was eyeballing the KFC Monster Bot, Horror Bot, whatever they are. I always forget which one is those two buffoons. I like those two buffoons a lot. I like their official toys actually a ton. The ones that came out in the last couple of years. But I heard some good things about the KFC versions. It's just like they were never in a position where I was like, oh, I've got the money for them and I have nothing I'd rather spend it on. So they kind of just kept hovering. Soup is a meme from the mid-2000s? There's no such thing as the mid-2000s. All this cryptozoology nonsense in the chat here. What is this? What is this? There's no such thing as the mid-2000s. We all slept. Alright, though, I forgot. Crypto's been ruined. Oh, I feel terrible for all those people who chase, like, Bigfoot and the Mothman and stuff. Like, we didn't do anything wrong! The mid-2000s only happened in Wyoming. Thank you, we have a scholar in the chat. Cryptids, yeah, he's got to change it to cryptid zoology. And then y'all are good. Anyone advice on what to get at your FLGS's Black Friday sale? Woof. I would say there's always going to be temptation to just get lots of things, and especially with, like, gaming store stuff, it's like, what's on sale that I want even if it's not on sale? And, like, making that the starting point. That's off the top of my head, that would be some advice. KFC Horror Cons are really good, but I also don't expect other offerings to debate them. Like, if they're good KFC is always kind of a fun time. What did the cryptids and the crypt do? Uh-oh. That might be someone's activation word. I'm not sure. Yeah, if you can get some Black Friday discounted Transformers TCG Wave 5, I'm still after nearly all of those super rares. So, And we're all still a bunch of goodies who aren't just making PDF sheets of all the super rares for people like me to just print off, so I don't have to keep chasing them because we're a bunch of do-gooders. I'm not actually salty about that. I like to occasionally be a criminal from the show COPS and CROOKS. I'm what's his name? I'm Baxter Bombgood or whatever. Are the Transformers TCG cards going to be worth anything in the future? It really depends if people just want to keep paying for them, pretty much. I'm gonna say for what they are, but like for them. I think the Wave 5 super rares are going to maintain a certain value because Wave 5 is just a low production wave. So Wave 5 rare stuff is going to probably be just like a little bit pricey in perpetuity. Well, if you get enough Metroplex decks, you can start building card houses out of Metroplexes, which is a lot more fun than building them out of like little cards. Excuse me. A giant mystery box full of current Monster Apocalypse. I would totally pick that up. Like, worst case, you have a bunch of neat resin and metal sculpt pieces to, like, make things out of. Oh, are people going to get their cards graded? No, I don't think it's ever going to hit that. I mean, card grading is already, like, inherently... How do you put it? I feel like it's a scam. I understand what it is. I can't fathom ever engaging with it myself. I don't think anyone who gets a graded card is a fool. I don't think people who do card grading are inherently scamming people. It's just the entire practice. I look at it, I'm just like, there was a day 1 on this that I don't know if it exists, and it's like we all just arrived in day 20, and then it's like, no, it's normal. Card grading is kind of a scam. I don't want to say it because I'm not like, you know, I'm not educated in the field enough to really know for sure. It's just like nothing about it looks normal or real. Yeah, the Netflix show's use of mercenaries was the best part about it was that the mercenary logo was in a piece of media, and that was cool. But then Cyberverse did it better, so we don't. Like many things the Netflix show did, Cyberverse went on to do it better. Any fun TCG memories? I got billions of those, let me tell you. I pulled the Wave 1 Rare Grimlock, who was pretty hard to find, out of a single booster I found lying on the floor of Toys R Us one day. Now, I already had one, so this was like my second one, but it's the one I had I bought as a single from Harry Tarantula. So... I always remember that, because that was kind of funny. It was my floor Grimlock. PSA 10. Yeah, Gem Mint. Ready for Trainbot Wars. I don't know. I feel like... how do I put this? I feel like it's mostly going to be a war on a subforum, and then like 2 sets of products are going to come out, and it's going to be like, well, one of these is like this, the other one's like this. I do think it's I hope that I always forget their name, Moon Studio or whatever, the third-party one. Like, I hope that theirs is actually any good, because I don't want bad toys to come out. It's just like I don't know anything about their production quality, and for myself, I need the toys to actually be fun to mess with. Like Devil Savior, for instance, that movie Devastator set. The best thing I heard about Devil Savior is that the Pogo Stick Bulldozer is the first one of that entire set that's remotely fun on its own. And I'm glad to hear that, because that set seemed kind of tragic in that it seemed so cynical that it was a bunch of unfun toys that almost knew that you were just going to combine them and leave them in combined form. And I hate that as a design idea. It's just so, to me, it's repugnant because it is spurning the notion of what the pieces inherently are. And, you know, it's causing an obvious gain for folks who want a, you know, shelf piece. Just personally, I find them really off-putting, like toys that do that. So that third-party Raiden, I'm kind of like, I hope that it's good toys. But I won't know until people actually have them in hand, like whether the transformations are fun, whether they're built, you know, fun. And kind of the same thing goes for the official ones, too. Like, that's not a given with Official Masterpiece either, that they are fun. The one thing that's a given with Official Masterpiece is that usually the transformations go for something. Which goes back to that point I was talking about way back at the beginning of the stream, where, like, I still kind of enjoy a thing if it falls apart on the back of being too eager. It was trying to do something too kooky, but it was doing it, like, really eagerly and really, like, heartfelt. Then I'm like, I still like that it exists, because I'd rather that be the reason why it doesn't work than just something like, well, this wasn't built very well. And, like, that's that, you know? My needs are very specific. That's why all the cartoon Menasors actually really intrigued me, because they were going for something where inherently, if you're really gonna do it, you kind of have to go for something kooky to make it work. Because you're solving a ridiculous problem, and there's only one boring solution, and I think Fans Toys is going to go for the boring solution. But to my pleasant surprise, everyone else kind of went for the fun solution. I'm just going for some of that messy, kind of non-metallic metal on this axe, because it's becoming a habit of mine. Animated is tremendously kitty. And that's not a bad thing. Blur. It's true. Personally, you know what I think is the most attractive? Is when folks think Cyberverse and animated are cool. Everything else is a little bit, woo, a little bit, oh, I hope that I'm not sitting on that part of the bus, because that's where people are being noisy and weird. It's becoming a growing occurrence every time I use the streetcar to go visit Meeple Mart, is that someone in the back of the streetcar is just kind of yelling. Seth! It's alright, you've been saving up your painting batteries. It's super weird to use a past tense on Cyberverse. Like, it's recent, right? It's recent. There is still a future to Cyberverse, which is finding out when UK people can actually, like, watch it legally. Because I think they still can't, and that's ridiculous. Adam Edgman, still have Unicron sitting unopened on the floor. Well, don't open it. If you do, he's going to try to eat a planet. And you know what's going to happen then? It's going to be bad news for everyone. So don't be selfish. You're making a sacrifice, and we all appreciate it. Bonktacular Productions. I had some good soup, and I'm painting a model now. And I started a stream because that helps get my creative juices flowing. And I really enjoyed saying your YouTube username. That's what's up. Oh man, I the whole time I was setting up the stream, I was like, yeah, I had some good soup. And like, I have been sitting on Instagram with that stupid Reels algorithm. I have seen good soup 1,000,000 times, and it didn't even occur to me. And then I come in here, and the first thing I see is someone with the emoji is like, good soup. And I'm like, you. I should say I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in myself. The first time I heard the good soup meme, I actually thought that it wasn't reused audio because I had no idea that it was a meme from anything. And then I went and watched the footage. I had to watch Adam Driver do that motion like 4 times to figure out what he all did, because he does a lot of that really fast. And then I scrolled down to the comments to go like, aha, Adam Driver did a funny thing. And then it was people who actually watched the show it was from saying how sad the scene was. And then I felt really bad for laughing at it. Like, apparently good soup is from a really tragic scene in some TV show Adam Driver is in. I dropped my paintbrush. Don't tell anyone I did that. Don't tell anyone I did that. See a slug deluxe before Windblade. Yeah! It's true. Take it easy, ordinary nobody. Guys, he drove. Yo, don't tell anyone I did that. They won't believe you. Oh, that was good soup. Where are you all hearing that I dropped a... No, there's no proof I ever dropped a brush. I'm sure someone's now gonna, like, hack my account and put some kind of Photoshop clip into this live stream showing me, quote-unquote, dropping a brush or something. Shit. It's so good to live rent-free in your head! Recorded it. No, my reputation. Bonktacular Production. Tried painting miniatures once, came out all color splotchy and gross. That's just stage 1. There's a couple of YouTube videos legit about this, which is about the ugly stage, which is that any miniature that looks good when you paint it, in the end, at one point looked terrible. So all you gotta do is keep painting it, and eventually it stops looking bad. It's true. Bonktacular Productions. Did you hear Aaron dropped a brush? Yeah, Aaron dropped... Let me tell you, that guy Aaron, Axsmith, on Twitter, drops paintbrushes all the time. That pause, you visualize that I was closing my eyes and taking one big inhale to get that off my chest, because I needed the extra air to push the grand pressure off my rib cage of having to suppress that fact from the world for so long. Holy crap. We should just call sneezes grand pressure. That's a Gaugai-Gar attack. Eventually you keep painting the figure until it's a round ball of dried paint. Well, you know what? Then it's a conversation piece, because someone's going to be like, what did you do? And you're like, haha, funny story. As you, like, you know, you throw the rope around him to tie him to the chair. You're like, funny story! The importer, it's the Bob Ross of figurine painting. Correct. I have a lot of hair. Do that with my D&D miniature, just make him a wad of paint and call him a cursed bard. Hey, as long as you've got the explanation, then who are people to debate the story of your character? Your character, I should add, not their character. Oh, I'm just having one of those moments where I'm like, what do I want to do to you? I know what I want to do to you. I want to make your knife shiny. Does it want to do anything else like this? I'm catching up on the chat, and it's reminding me of Transformers forums. That was mean. Oh, do I have any experience with Flame Toys model kits? Are they worth a purchase? I haven't built one yet. I have like 3, and I still haven't built them. But everyone who did build one told me that they were like pretty darn good, like Kotobukiya tier. Like slight step above HG Gundam. I guess old HG Gundam. Did HG get good? I can't remember anymore. Because I know RG is like really good. It's like sub RG, but like Kotobukiya level, I guess. They're good, basically. I haven't heard anything like terrible about them. Oh, HG's good now. Okay. I guess, yeah, the HG tier. Basically, no one's told me, ugh, these Flame Toys kits. So it sounds like they're pretty alright to put together. I would say they're getting a little bit pricey, so like I'd say definitely like get one and build one before you collect a bunch of them. Their original Optimus Prime is solid, but it's extremely obvious it's their first time doing a kit. Okay. Yeah, I assume that they've also just gotten better in general at like designing the kit side of them as time went on. That would be my hope anyway. Wait, HG got good at 00, Color Distro got good at Age, and stickers have not been good until IBO. Okay, I thought I misread that. I was like, stickers were good until IBO, and I was like, what did Iron Blood Orphans do to the stickers? But it got better then. Okay, that's good. That's good. I still have way too much unbuilt Gundam in general to really ever get back to that anytime soon. But in general, I am a fan of things being good. I think it's a good state to be in. It's preferable to the state of things being bad. You know what? You can quote me on that. Chris Vangelis Internet says, "I like it when things are good." You know, controversial take, but I'm glad to stand by it, honestly. I was having one of those like old person on YouTube thoughts, and I was like, this is a lousy take. I'll share it anyway. I was thinking one of the things that I always had trouble fitting in on with internet video making in general. Generally, I'm way more interested in talking about stuff that I think's cool versus like, you know, finding stuff to say I think is really bad. I generally have more fun talking about what I like, and I find it kind of exhausting to talk about stuff that I don't like. But then also, so once upon a time, that was like, I just don't know how well I fit in here on this internet of video making. But then, I also ended up like, I don't like having a really loudly positive like tone. I like just having my tone. So then I don't fit in with the swing around of like, you know, like this is the hyperboliest noun I've ever verbed. I don't know. Anyway, that's my lousy take I just had. You're welcome. That one was free. The next one will cost you $30 American. Oh, boy. Technically, we're all ageless. Because there's no proof any of us have skin. These hands, there's no proof these are actually real human hands. I could be CGing this whole thing. For all I know, we could all just be collections of words that all got onto this abandoned internet, and we all really like to pretend that we all have to use the washroom after we eat stuff, because we're a bunch of perverts. So, you know, like, think about that. You know, think about that reality. I'm just highlighting up this thing that eventually I want to put a camo pattern on, but I'm still second guessing if I really want to put a camo pattern onto it, because I don't want to do that work. I kind of like how it looks, but I've also never put a camo pattern onto anything, so I actually don't know if I like that work or not. I've been into Transformers since 1984, and I still get wowed now and then, but it's a lot of shifting perspective. And also kind of, like, this applies to media in general. It's kind of like figuring out less about, like, well, what do I know, and more about, like, what do I enjoy? And then being open to things that are not what you know you enjoy, and just giving them a try anyway. The worst state a human being can be in is one where they say, I know what I like and I don't want anything else. Because then you've kind of stopped. You've bottle-capped your own growth and existence. I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate, and I know I'm fortunate. And I know this isn't common. Very fortunate to have been raised under an umbrella that said everything changes and that's okay. As every now and then I pause and value that. Especially as time goes on and you realize, like, how many people were not fortunate in that regard and had to deal with a roof that also said, things are better my way. And things should not change. Everything changes. That's why Transformers is great. So if you don't like Transformers 1 year, you just wait a couple years, and it's completely different. Assemble your apothecary! I agree. Like, I'm trying to find a better way to put it nowadays, but there's a couple years ago I was a very big proponent of, like, if you don't know how to do a thing, then the best thing to do is just do it. But, like, I think there's a different way to put it. And I don't know how I want to put it yet. But getting this close to finishing my Operation Crimson Stone Ariadna models from Infinity is putting that kind of existential navel-gazing into me in a positive way. I'm feeling it, feeling good. I'm just going to do one highlight on the parachutist. Then I will have made definite progress on this day. Oh, previous question glanced over. What if I wanted to start watching Brave from Gaogaigar? Yeah, I mean, the Brave series have no continuity between each other. So you can watch any of them, really. Gaogaigar is a totally excellent place to start. It's probably the highest budget one. So it could set expectations a little bit funny if you don't know that going in. But it is the flashiest and fanciest looking one. Was there a remastered Gaogaigar that removed all the flashing? I don't know if there's one that removed all the flashing. There are Blu-ray rips out there now, which do look a lot nicer. I do not know if they have done anything about the tendency for that show to have incredibly bright flashing lights, though. That would be something to check. Is it naive to assume that there would be a statement along those lines somewhere on the Nya Torrents comment sections for those rips? I would assume someone would bring it up. But I'm not really sure. That could be naivete on my part. And I haven't looked at the chat for a bit. I'm getting kind of zeroed in on a wet blend. But very soon, once I get some of this bright on there. Yeah! Probably doesn't look any different than before I did all this, but I can see it, and that's what's important. Look at that foot. Alright, what did I miss over here? Six Pack says wet blend. You're right, Six Pack. It is. Oh, Six Pack! Hobby Stringers Coop! Yo! I missed that part up there. I was zeroed in on the wet blend. Hey, speaking of... Let me throw some YouTube out there, since that's what I have for TV. I've been watching a lot of YouTube on my TV because I got a Roku stick. And I've been using the app on the TV for years and years and years, and then I wanted to watch the D Plus on my TV. And I got one of those sticks. I am not a stick loyalist, by the way. I know the Roku has all kinds of issues or whatever. It's just the one I got. But I'm watching a lot of YouTube on there. Do you know what I watched? You know what I watched, which is really, really complicated? I watched those Quentin videos, the 5-hour-long ones. I watched all of them. The Fred one, and then the Nickelodeon shows ones. Is fascinating to me because those shows he's talking about, and even Fred, none of that was ever part of my life. So it's like this entire foreign thing that, like, I was suddenly getting this massive brain download of stuff on, and I was like, what the hell? Anyway, who needs TV when you can binge someone talking about TV shows that started showing after you stopped having a TV? There's all these names where I'm like, wait, I kind of remember hearing that name out of someone's mouth at some point. Usually some podcast conversation where I just thought like they were talking about some American thing, and they were. Those Nick shows are bonkers. Oh, Coop, you're streaming me on the TV. Oh, crap. Here, have the... Whoa, filling it. Ever watched Tim Rogers' Action Button reviews? Very U-core. I have not. That name sounds really familiar. It might just be another one where I've seen the name. And then, like, I've seen it, so it now inhabits a space in my brain somewhere. Take it easy, Z Striker. like, apropos of what I'm doing, I've lately watched a whole ton of Infinity lore videos, because it turns out I really like the lore for this game. It's what War Lore is. It's War Lore and someone else. I forgot the name of the other channel. They do the ones that I really enjoyed. War Lore, I just watched their 3-parter on this faction, on the history of Ariadne. It's fascinating. It's really cool ideas. That's why it's bonkers to me that on the forum for the company that makes this game, I saw someone, it's apparently a career Infinity player, lifestyle Infinity player, going like, well, no one's here for the lore. And I'm like, well, how are you even here then? Why do you have forum permissions to post and I don't? It's because they manually approve users and they have like one moderator. That's why I don't have forum permissions yet. It's almost the end of the month. All of a sudden again, very frustrating. So I got a little project I want to do this month. A little fun bit, a little funny thing. Other reason why I wanted to make my progress on these little miniatures is because these have really been on my mind, and they've been getting in the way of me doing anything else with my spare time. So I wanted to make progress on them so I could be like, because for my silly thing I want to do, I got to sit down for a little bit and stare at some stuff. Every time I want to do that, I'm like, I gotta paint that model though. Yeah, RG1. I mean, I've complained about time dilation so much since early 2020. Sit down to talk about Garo vanishing a line at some point. I haven't seen it yet. I am so behind on Garo. I'm like, I've watched a lot of the Koga stuff, but I've fallen way behind on Garo in the last few years. It sucks because I really like Garo, but like so much Garo came out so fast that I kind of had the curl into a ball and hide reaction, and where you say to yourself like, oh, I'll catch up on it later. I'm so behind on Garo's stuff. I need to actually watch it to be able to talk about it. But otherwise, yeah, I'd be down to talk about it. Just right, I probably should watch it first. Unless you want to just have me on to hear me just try to guess what it's about. I could do that too. Just show up, pouring sweat. Yeah, I watched the first few episodes. Webster's dictionary defines the vanishing point as the point where something ceases to be visible. And really, I think that says a lot about the conditions of we live in a society. It's like and then everyone's just recording a podcast in a separate room. Someone comes in to see if I'm still trying to cover every few minutes. So there's just a separate 2.5 hour long podcast of me doing a book report on nothing. Yeah, I watched Macross Frontier. I just can't remember any of it. I polluted my brain by just rewatching the final episode several times, and then I don't remember anything else that happened in the show. I remember Mikhail sad, And I remember the final episode. It's like it turns out yeah, kind of comes out of left field, but also it's like they're playing cool music, so I'm into it. But yeah, I can also just give the lore on Macross. I know everything about Macross. There were some pew pew jet robots, but you know there was also a larger thematic conversation about the chasing the ghosts of what once was, and you know sometimes the enemy within is greater than the enemy without. Well, I'm psyching myself out here. The thing that really gets you is when you get into a still running series that has hundreds of episodes from the decades it's been running before you were born. Ah, yeah. That's how I feel when I look at One Piece. And JoJo. And Academia. A lot of anime, really. Calvin J, how could you even paint faces on the small models? Must be hard to do. It's like, yes, but also oddly, like when you get a good brush with a good tip and you just go in there, like it's hard, but also like when it works, you're like, dang, I thought that was going to be harder. I think I just need some more frostbite. What is the bot in the thumbnail? Why is he in every thumbnail starting from half a year ago? It's just every now and then you gotta look to the heavens above and assert some power, and then it makes us all stronger. Sometimes things just happen around here. And you just kind of roll. You know, if you ask too many, I find if I ask too many questions about why that stuff's happening, toys start talking to me, and it's like that's too weird. I don't want toys talking to me. All due respect to toys. I'm not down with them talking to me. Yeah, he's Rungman Rans. Wants to be acknowledged. Rungman Rans sounds like a terrible name. Why did I say that? You'd never take someone seriously if they were like, "Hi, I'm Rungman Rans." Getting that zeroed in feeling again. I'm kind of getting, when this stuff starts doing the thing, I'm just kind of like, right there. It's hard to not keep looking. And then I realized like 5 minutes passed without me saying a single word. because I got pulled into the wet blend zone. Y'all ever get pulled into the wet zone? Ugh. Scrolled up and I saw a sleepy Buddha, but animal coin man with underwear is so relatable. I have no idea what the context of that is, but that's nonetheless advice to live by. Knife. That knife is the last thing I want to poke at. Oh, and then that one piece of pectoral plating that is visible. Alright. Alright, we're good. We're good. We got this. Get that knife, and I'm going to call it. How you feeling about Goken X Kaiser? Yeah, I think it's cool. Partly because of that whole thing about, like, Soul Jigoken sometimes not hitting it. I want to know how it works, but I think it's really cool that X Kaiser's getting some love. Monstrosities Tokusatsu Vlog! My man, how you doing? I wouldn't say I'm doing fantastic, but that's because I generally give forward too much information nowadays. However, I'm doing pretty alright. I had some good soup. Yeah, I had some good soup. And I'm making some gains on these minis. I wanted a live stream to help kind of pump me up with some of that good energy that I get when I live stream painting, and it absolutely happened. So we're here. This moment is ours right now. Can you feel it? I sure can. Now I'm getting some of this non-metallic metal onto this here knife. Oh. Do this. Yes. Wait a second. That's a sheathed knife. That's a sheathed knife. I don't need to do non-metallic metal. It's in a sheath. What am I doing? Yeah, let's just do this and give it an edge. We'll call it a day. Congratulations me. Looks like tonight I'm a winner. Yeah, this just needs a little bit of Black Templar glaze. I gotta tone that down a little bit. Oh, take it easy, Nebulos, if you're still here. Elson Quizmorio, feel that Transformers Titan class toys become a status symbol in the community. Do you agree they're getting more expensive from where I live? It's an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know that they specifically would be a status symbol as opposed to just in general expensive Transformers having that kind of status symbol thing of like, look what I can afford, I guess. Or look, not even what I can afford, look what I was able to buy. I don't know. I don't know if I mean, personally, I would not myself see it as a status symbol. But I generally don't see possessions as status symbols. Because I need to know people are chill and cool. That's kind of one of my requirements now. So it'd be more, for me it'd be more like, oh, this chill cool person also has a big toy. Good for them. I'm happy. It's an interesting question, though. Oh, six-pack coupe with painting the minis. Is it more fulfilling to paint than play? Yeah, I don't know. I think for me it's kind of a mix. Painting them, I'm still finding the whole experience of just painting them incredibly novel because I'm finding I'm able to confidently accomplish things that once would have been, to me, really hard to do. And it's not like they're easy to do, but the thing I've been finding with miniature painting is like things become not easier, but less daunting to physically do. They become more comfortable to physically do. But playing with them, I also found, you know, the few times I was able to do it, I haven't been able to do it that much, is really cool, like, looking at stuff on a table that, like, I painted. Like, my Riot Quest stuff is the main stuff where I can do that. Where I can, like, I can look at a, you know, a little team of Riot Quest and go like, dang, and also they're all in color, thanks to me. But I think it's actually quite common for the painting side to be its own fulfillment for a lot of folks. It seems especially for a lot of creators in the space. Yeah, it feels good to see that you've done it, I think. Oh yeah, Rothia and Fairmoon. I've been playing a buttload of solo gaming since lockdown started. I spent too much money on that stuff, but it's been really satisfying. And I have a couple games with mini, like Riot Quest has a solo mode I still have to try out. Sleepy Buddha, yeah, achieving that painting zen, 100%. I mean, I that happens to me whenever I'm streaming painting, especially near the end when I'm really hitting something. With the bummer being it doesn't make for good streaming because then I'm dead silent for in upwards of minutes. Like right here, I'm really happy with how I managed to rejig this knife sheath now that I realize it's a sheath. And yeah, generally, if I don't do camo on the Zenit 7, let's assess. The main thing I want to do on this guy is I'd like to do a little bit of something with the visor, and that's about it. Otherwise, I don't think I need to do anything else on here other than the base. So that's progress. And then if we pop over here, the Zenit 7, if I don't do camo on the poncho, then I just want to dot the eyes on the gas mask, and I'd like to clean up that bit of skin paint on the arm there, and on there maybe. But then this one's otherwise donezo, other than the base, obviously. And then the SAS. Yeah, same thing. I think I just want to put a little dot of brighter skin color on that exposed bit on the hand, and then do the base. So yeah, I should say I did the eyes on a whole bunch of these in a row the other night. This one's eyes are not good, but I don't know what else to do about them. She just looks like she has very, very long eyes. But otherwise, I think I'm fine with this. That means tomorrow I could totally finish these up. Bump my incredibly mediocre Shame Golf score for this season. Coop, was a baby-ass baby when I met you in 2013. Yeah, I mean, what's 9 years? It's a year less than a decade. Ha! It's an odd thing to think of. I remember thinking this back in high school even. Like, what is internet fandom? When I was seeing it, to me it was burgeoning. Like, what is this going to be like 10, 20 years later? And I had a lot of fears that it would be worse. And I know that saying fandom isn't worse is kind of a funny thing to say in 2021. But I thought things, like right now, I just feel like there's generally, when you can connect with folks and everyone's kind of chill and there for the same reason, it's just generally like, yeah, it's a good time, and it's harder to curate a larger space, but like a smaller space, especially like the kind of spaces that I prefer to curate, being like my tiny ass patron Discord server, basically, and like the chats here, even though I'm not very good at curating it. I don't know, it's kind of like, everyone's just chilling out. Ideally, everyone's chilling out, keeping it real. I'm also easily missing things. If I am, I apologize. Is this worth it? Yeah, it was worth it. Let's do your arm. I forgot the point I was making, but I thought it was going to be weirder to be an internet fan of anything in 2021 than it turned out being. Like, now I have more concerns about what I would call the notion of structured fandom behavior. That's my term for it. It's not a very good term. It's kind of like the way that it feels like organic fandom behavior is now kind of... It went from being supported by the source to feeling like the source dictates how people are supposed to react to the media the source is making, in a way. Which is like a thing I don't really like to harp about, because essentially I'm then also picking on folks who are genuinely just reacting to stuff the way they react to it, and that's not cool. But I feel like the notion of fandom has gotten kind of just structured, I guess, is the way I'd put it. Oh, that did a lot more than I thought it was going to do. Piggy Peeves, oh, I wasn't clear when we talked about the Monpok campaign. I backed the veteran thing because I have the 2.0 original starter sets. But after seeing what the core box has become when the pledge manager opens, I'm hoping I can afford to upgrade to the tier where you get the core box and the veteran thing, or the one with the Apex monsters in it. And then I'd really like to be able to afford the expansion box with all the buildings in it, because to me that's the biggest value. I would love to get more stuff out of that thing, but like that'll give me a whole lot cheaper than if I got it normally. If I can't get any of that stuff anytime ever again, I can still track down the resin metal versions of a lot of those sculpts. But like getting a ton, like the core box and then a bunch of buildings for like 1/10 of the price of getting them in resin and metal, would be fantastic to me. Yeah, so you got the Savage Swarm starter. I didn't get either of the new starters. I've been meaning to. They have that one actually still at a store downtown here, because I want the new rulebook. But that's why this Monster Apocalypse campaign I think is so cool. The biggest problem with Monpok and with Riot Quest is those are really fun games with great models and really fun rules, but like it's all resin and metal, and like I would not disagree with the notion that resin and metal especially, is less scary to work with than it presents. But especially like to a new hobbyist, like it is really hard stuff to work with compared to GW plastics. When you can tell someone that all they have to do is cut the parts, trim mold lines, and use cement that fuses the plastic together, that's 100 times easier than telling someone like, there's a decent chance you might want to actually toothbrush scrub these parts, and then with the resin, like you don't want to sand it without a mask on, you'll want to just carve it. With the metal, you'll want a different knife to carve it if you're going to do that, because you're going to mess that knife up pretty easily. You might want to get some diamond files for that, etc., etc. Yeah, resin is like weird to me, because I find resin is both easier and harder, because like it's so easy to carve up resin that I'm like, no, I can just reshape this stuff. But then it's like, how much work am I doing all of a sudden to get rid of a nub, as opposed to something with plastic or metal where I could just file it off? In both cases, I think it is kind of newbie unfriendly. And for games that are like really goofy fun, I'm like, oh, you gotta have like at least one set of, even if they're kind of crummy, like one pre-built plastic model set, or any pre-built something set, so that, like maybe one-piece metal minis, so that people can just play the game before having to get into all that stuff. Oh yeah, the Monpok Kickstarter, you're also getting that exclusive, the exclusive building and etc. Yeah. Oh damn, Picky Peeves. Yeah, they're not. I don't know who the they is here. I don't think it's loud enough, even though a lot of people say it. It's not loud enough on the packaging that, like, you don't sand resin unless you're wet sanding and or wearing a mask. That is just, it creates really harmful particulates. I wonder if I can quickly do what I want to do on this guy's visor. I'd like a little bit of this. Anora 1, kind of a shame Bandai doesn't make a game for Gundam models. They don't, but I don't play it because I can only get so much stuff, but I really want to get the book. Look up a game called Gamma Wolves by Osprey Osprey Publishing Wargames. Gamma Wolves is just a rule set book, and it's built around using like robot toys. It's miniatures agnostic is what it's called, which means all Gamma Wolves cares about are the base sizes. So it's even designed in 2 scales, like big or little, and one of those scales is literally built around the idea of just get a base, make a base to stand your Gundam on, and now you have a rule set for using a Gundam in a tabletop war game. The rulebook is like, you can even just get a PDF version of it, but yeah, look up Gamma Wolves, It's kind of cool. Yeah, there's a Lego-based thing I know I saw as well. It's Gamma Wolves is on my mind because it's super indie. And I've been really into the idea of miniatures agnostic games too. What a wombat! How do you prep resin miniatures? Well, the main thing, I'm making it sound really scary. The main thing is just don't sand or file resin. If you're gonna sand or file resin, you want a wet sand, which means that you dip the sanding tool into water before you sand it, so that the powder doesn't get into the air, or wear a particulates mask, a P95 mask. With resin, what you do is you probably want to give it, like with some metal pieces, you want to give it a little dunk in some soapy water and give it a little toothbrush scrub, just like for a second, in case there's any mold release on it, and then let it dry off. And then if you have to get stuff off of it, you want to use a hobby knife instead, and just do a little bit of carving. The one thing about resin that's kind of nice is that if you're careful and you kind of go slowly, you can just whittle stuff down until it's a little bit smooth. It'll be a little bit clunky like a shaved potato, but the risk of resin is just if you start sanding it with a file or something willy-nilly, it's not gonna like kill you on the spot. It's just not healthy for you to breathe that stuff in. So like, and when I say that, I don't mean like so it's okay to do it once or twice, but like don't get the fear of like, oh no, I'm now on a timer and then I've been death noted or something. Like, just try not to do it a lot. Eric! Just wish there were better plastic minis to work with other than GWs. Yeah. I mean, I like GW's minis a lot, but like it's kind of a shame that like they're kind of the top end of plastic minis as far as like presence and just like girth of product. There are other good plastic minis. I mean, it's branded, but like Star Wars Legion has moved to sprues, so their plastic minis have gotten better. It's not the same kind of material, but like those Nolzur's miniatures that are pre-primed are pretty fun to work with, but like they're pre-built, I guess, and if you're not looking for that. Eric, how many points of articulation does it have? Well, it's made of pewter, so technically, if I bend pieces, there's an infinite coil of articulation that can come off of each individual piece. That was a very smart alecky answer I gave there. Good job, me. Good job. You showed them. You showed the world there. Some of these, I'll show you one. William Wallace here. Sci-fi William Wallace. Literally is William Wallace. This sword is pewter and thin, and this sword it bends on a whim. Like I'm really freaked out about putting this guy back into any kind of foam. Like I got a magnet on the base so I can put him into magnetic storage, but this piece, this is like paper thin pewter. It just goes I've bent it a whole bunch of times just trying to get it straight. Magnetic storage is, I mean, this tray actually is kind of an example. You'd want it to be built into something, but it's where you have a metal plate on the bottom, and then your miniatures have a magnet in the bottom of the base, so that they just stick, so that you can, just store them like this, and that way they're not bumping around against foam, or you don't need to have custom cut foam. So this is an increasingly common way to store miniatures. The thing you do is you go to Staples and get one of those 8-liter really useful boxes, and then you get some rubber steel sheeting or just a big plate of steel cut to shape, and you just like fasten it into the bottom of the box. There's a lot of YouTube guides on it. And a lot of them are based out of the UK, where there's a place called the Magnet Shop where you can really affordably get rubber steel sheeting. They only ship to the UK affordably. Artist one is Gigabeetle painting up a ton of those SHF. Oh, was Gigabeetle painting SHFs? Or I think Gigabeetle's been painting the McFarlane ones, not the SHF one. Or sorry, it's not SHF, it's the Bandai one. It is way more of a... It's less SHF and more... It feels like a built model kit. Like I have the Ultramarine. And it's okay, but for the price and given that it's from Bandai, there were a lot of things about it that I felt were kind of under par. We're still in a pandemic. Is your toy collecting normalized now? Oh, I don't know how to answer that. Because I am not out toy hunting very much, other than GameStop, EB GameStop, because a lot of them are on my walking routes. But I've been, like, I do a lot of pre-orders now on the internet. So I'm still collecting, but I'm not, like, out toy hunting. I don't know why I found that so hard to answer. It's kind of straightforward, really, but hopefully you know what I mean. Only for Amazon Canada to cancel them, which is never happens. Yeah, there's also that. That also sometimes happens, yes. Thankfully, the last couple I was able to do a workaround. Like, after Amazon canceled my Commander Rodimus, I found one in an EB GameStop with my Edge discount. So I was like, I win, I guess. I was like, you can't stop me buying the expensive Commander toy. By you, I mean the world. What's really frustrating right now is, like, stuff's getting figured out, right? Right? We're still in this. Stuff's getting figured out. The one thing from the old days I still can't do, Eric's reminding me of this, I still don't have a straightforward way to meet with people to play non-video games. Which I find very frustrating. I mean, no, there's a lot of reasons to feel put off by Games Workshop. They're not like a I don't think they're like a, you know, villain company or anything, but, like, there's a lot that they do that is easy to be put off by. You think they'll ever reissue Netflix Bumblebee? I know folks at the Hasbro private Q&A Zoom call thing brought up Netflix Bumblebee, among other toys, as, like, 2020 era figures that were just impossible to find, and that it would be great to have another opportunity to get them through something like Buzzworthy. So the Hasbro end has had the idea seeded to them. I don't know how far that will go, but that's better than nothing. Because yeah, Netflix Soundwave, Netflix Bumblebee, and the Conehead 2-pack. I brought up the Conehead 2-pack because I'm Canadian. And I said as much. I was like, it behooves me as a Canadian to mention that Canadians never had a chance at the Conehead 2-pack to this day. So any ability to get that out there would be fantastic. Origins Bumblebee doesn't seem super hard to find. I've seen a lot of photos, even in Canada, of like, if people do get to a Toys R Us, they're finding like walls of them. I've actually been trying to figure out, this is completely selfish of me, but like, with TFCon Toronto coming up, I've been seeding to a lot of people, like, you know how y'all Americans who are actually able to come here would be able to have a real good time? You want to secure some toy spending money? Bring some Draculuses and charge less than a liter toy. Because Draculus is liter price point in Canada. I know I've yelled about this like almost every stream, but just in case anyone hasn't heard that, who's kicking around right now, in Canada, Draculus, Crossovers collab Draculus, is inexplicably liter price point, and no one knows why. He is, I'd say liter price point specifically because that's how Americans understand the situation. Because he is not liter price point in America. So I've been saying, like, you're gonna do all right if you bring some Draculuses down to Canada. If you, I mean, you're not gonna do all right. You're not gonna make a whole ton of money, but if you charge under liter price point, you know, for services rendered, I think some folks will bite. I may well bite. I really like Draculus. I do not want to pay liter price point for him. All right, take it easy, Coop. I think I've got these to enough of a point of completion where I gotta do the bases. I'll do those tomorrow. But we can look at the spoils here. Just wash my brush. Close my palette and wash my brush. It's been, if you want to ever call me a Hasbro apologist, the one thing I've been doing is whenever people in Canada are like, oh, this Dracula is such garbage and it's 74 bucks. I'm like, well, the thing is, he's in America, he's more like what he call he's more like what the Ectotron and the Gigawatt costs. It's not like it's, you know, that much better, but to me it's fine. I'm like, no, I'll pay the markup for the weird license and the new parts and the fabric and everything. That's fine, but liter price point, no, please no. I can't do that. Because it feels like someone carried the wrong decimal number when sorting out the price for that guy. It doesn't feel intentional, so I don't want to engage with it. Oh, Picky Peeves, nice. Yeah, I like Gigawatt. Like, you gotta be a bit careful of the scratchable stuff when you're transforming him, because there's lots of tamper-graph things. But I think Gigawatt is the best collab toy they've done. Not to say that I don't like Ectotron. I think Gigawatt really hits it, like just really hits it. The comic's fun. Ectotron does have a better comic, in my opinion, but Gigawatt's comic is pretty fun. It takes a fortune to export Draculus's cape. Sadly true. What I'm doing, by the way, is I got this Winsor Newton brush cleaner and preserver and some... Because this, I mean, it's an army painter brush, so it's not like the fanciest Kolinsky brush, but it's a Kolinsky brush, so it's got the sable hair stuff going on. So I want to give it a nice little washing. I've noticed a positive effect when I use all these brush cleaner things. So I also got this this Vallejo stuff. If I really want to get kooky on it. Eric, opinion on the official RPG coming out. I have hopes because the deck builder is good. I have a review copy of it, and it's pretty good. And it feels like Renegade is taking the Hasbro property games they're doing seriously, in that the deck builders are not just one game reskinned 3 different ways. They're 3 completely different games. So, like, that RPG, I gotta, like, I don't know the pedigree behind it, but they're definitely taking this stuff seriously. It's not a franchise logo slap. Hang on. Rex is female, according to the bio. Like, the ad copy for Rex is it states that she's female, so she's female. She's a big spooky lady robot, turns into a T-Rex. There will be a review on the deck builder. My plan right now is I'm going to have sort of like initial impressions, like not really an unbox, because it's heavily edited, but I'm going to have like a little video games initial impressions, and I'm going to do some gameplay off and on, and then I'd like to do a formal review of it, but I would like to play the deck builder not just solo to do a review. I would like to play it with some people to report on that side of it if I'm doing a review. I'm also fascinated by the ways you can play it with people, because the competitive mode for the deck builder, you're all still Autobots working together. It's just you're petty, so you're trying to work together but do it better than the other ones. It's kind of neat. The solo mode for the deck builder, though, solitaire play on that is still excellent. Like, I'm really impressed with it, and it's future-proofed for a lot of stuff. Actually, here, let me show you. I can't remember if I showed on the stream or not. I might have, but I want to make my point. I'm going to go get the box. It's just over. Yeah. Right next to the rat catcher. So my excitement for this game is illustrated best by just a couple of cards. Upcoming TF reviews, yes. After the next review, the last review I said Sunstreaker was next, but then I realized review 420 is next, so that's the next review. But after that will be Sunstreaker, because that's one I've wanted to do for a bit. Let's grab you and grab you. You're not supposed to be in there. All right. We're not. Space, let me tell you. All right, so here's the thing that I think's super exciting. So when you play the game, right, it's like a deck builder like Dominion or Star Realms or anything, but the board is a matrix, like a grid of cards that you explore as a character, and then you flip cards over and see what they are. So one of the really initially exciting things is that one type of card you can flip is a robot. Allies and adversaries, because you're all Autobot characters in the core box, so these are allies, these are adversaries. You interact with them differently. You buy these with that cost to add them to your deck. You buy these to fight them and defeat them, get this reward down here. So when you add them to your deck and you play them, they give you this stuff when you play the card. You get this effect. There's their Energon effect. That gray strip is if you defeat them. You can't fight Autobots with Autobots unless you flip this precisely one card in the whole game, which lets you fight Autobots. Robots are all treated as adversaries. It's the only time you'd ever get this reward down here off of an Autobot. A Decepticon robot card, right? You got this stuff here, this effect here, this Energon effect. There is literally no way in the core box to ever use any of this. So they've future-proofed already for Decepticon characters. I mean, they advertise an expansion with Decepticons on the back of this box, but, like, they've future-proofed already in the core box for characters that are not available yet, that being Decepticon characters. That's one really exciting thing. Then the other little exciting thing, just along the lines of future-proofing, every time you take damage in this game, you get one of these cards, and it goes into play, which means it just sits there, and it's a damage card. The loss condition in solitaire mode is if you take 5 damage, you lose. So in solitaire and co-op, that's the loss condition. If anyone takes 5 damage total, they lose. The damage cards are from a pile that's outside of the main deck. They're just a pile sitting there where you take them. They never go into your deck. However, they have a cost, and they have a deck card back. So they've been future-proofed to go into your deck if they ever create a character or scenario that would put them into your deck. And they don't just use that card back on everything. Like the Decepticon AI deck, technically, has this as a card back, the encounter stuff. Like every time you flip a bad guy, you get this ambush attack, and if you reveal a boss, it has this modifier, and when you fight a boss, you shuffle all of these together and you flip one and the boss confrontation effect happens. So when you're playing solitaire or co-op, you win by defeating all 3 bosses, you lose if anyone takes 5 damage. If you're playing competitively, you just play to the end and whoever has the most points wins. Where are these? These are the main deck. The bosses too. If I have one big crit on the core box is they don't give you enough bosses. You get 2 of each level, because when you play the game, basically there's 3 levels of bosses: level 1, level 2, level 3. So you randomly pick one of each and you seed these into you split the main deck for the game. So you don't use all those main deck cards. You use like a certain number of them, and then you split it into 4 pieces and you seed a level 1 boss into the top quarter, this into the second, this into the third, etc. And then when you flip the bosses, these bosses are all I fought against all of them now. They're all very different. Like, I'll skip ahead. Like, the level 1 bosses are pretty straightforward because they're early game. And then the level 2 bosses have, different effects. They basically have a reveal attack, and then usually at the start of every turn when a boss is out, something bad happens to you, or there's like an ongoing thing with Blitzwing. The level 3 bosses, right? So Megatron, he just eats your deck, basically, while you're trying to fight him. It kind of puts you on a timer. Devastator, when you reveal Devastator, you take every Constructicon that's either revealed or destroyed, put them under him, and he gets +1 power for every single one. And when you destroy him, you destroy all Constructicons, but you win when you destroy him. So again, this is an effect that doesn't really mean anything yet. It's so fascinating. But what bums me out, right, is that there's 3 levels of bosses. You get 2 of each. They should have given you 3 of each to get the full 3x3 level of variability in the core box. I'm begging for one more boss for each level right now, because right now when I try to randomize them, I have to take the level 1s, flip them over, try to forget which one was on top while I do this, and randomly pick one of the 2. I find it easier to randomly pick 1 out of 3 than out of 2, but that's also just, I'm whiny. I saw a question about playable characters. There's the promo pack. If you order this off Renegade's site, gives you Jazz as a character, and it gives you 4 more main deck cards, but the characters you get Ironhide, Wheeljack, Ratchet, Bumblebee, RC, and Optimus. I've only played as these 3 so far. And they're all quite different, and RC especially. This is another thing about this game. This game can be played very dead simply, but if you want to, characters like RC can do real bonkers combo nonsense. Because if you start collecting maneuvers out of the map to add to your deck, if you play a maneuver, the first time you play one, you draw a card. So she has inherent card draw, and then if you use her Energon ability level 2, you pay 2 Energon. You can use each of these once per turn. Reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. You draw one, so that's another card draw, and then you destroy the other, which removes it from the game. So she can thin your deck, and she can do, with maneuvers, bonkers card draw stuff. This game gets as complicated as, like, TCG combo decks if you want it to. That's another reason why I'm really excited about this game and where it can go. Also, yes, the Energon is 2 sizes of cubes that are perfect color. Like, these are almost worth it alone for some people. This is the big ones. They got the color perfect. Like, these look gorgeous. Would you say this game's comparable to the TCG at all? No. That's not. How do I put this? Because I don't want to be like. I don't want to be mean when I say it. So it's a completely different genre, basically. The best way to describe it is the TCG is a trading card game where you construct a deck and you play against someone else's constructed deck. This is what you could define as a board game. This is a deck builder board game where the difference between a deck builder and deck construction. Deck construction is where you can. It's like magic. You construct a deck, then you go and play. A deck builder, everyone starts with the same 10-card deck, and then the gameplay is enhancing that deck and then removing cards out of it as they become, more clutter than helpful. Gameplay wise, even there's not that much in common. Like the only thing really in common is that you flip to transform, and that's kind of nostalgic if you were a TCG player. But no, there's very little in common with this and the TCG. Like this is an inherently very solitaire-friendly game engine, and if they make more expansions for this is going to be a very good board game. I saw, Eric, you're asking how these feel. These are hard plastic. These are basically, feel-wise, like your general plastic board game cubes that you'd see in other various board games whenever they don't use wood. They just got the plastic color perfect. Like, ridiculously perfect. I'll say again, this is a review copy that I got. So, obviously, I'm praising it to high heaven, and it's a review copy. So, take that as you will. But, like, I'm praising it for a lot of the same reasons why I praise the TCG. Because, like the TCG, this game is way deeper than I thought it was going to be. And like Piggy Peas, you're mentioning, like, you're hoping for more synergy that you found addicting with the TCG. As you play this game and build your little deck, you still are creating little synergies. RC is just such a good example for this. Because in the main deck, maneuver is just a type of card. Like, there's robots, maneuvers, technology, allies, and then sites and events and bosses. But if you track down maneuvers with RC, like, you can start creating self-card draw possibilities, and you only have 5 cards in your hand at the start of any given turn. With RC, I've ended a turn with like 10 cards played to take out a boss. Very much on the back of this and this Energon 2 ability. And it's really tricky to keep track of because timing matters in this, and usually in deck builder games, timing doesn't matter. You just play your whole hand and figure it out. In this game, the timing of your card plays actually matters, to the point where my other big criticism of this box is they don't give you enough tokens to actually keep track of your resources in your turn. Because when you play cards, right, out of your hand, when I play Mirage, right, he gives me 1 energy at a range of 1 and 3 movement. The 1 energy and the 3 movement are not just added to one big pool. They technically are, but if I don't use that 1 energy and that 3 movement, and then Mirage gets destroyed out of play or removed from play, I lose specifically the unused energy and movement from Mirage. Also, the range means his energy has a range of 1 card in adjacency away from him. That range only applies to that 1 energy. So, another complicated play that can happen is, let's say I play, here's a maneuver, dodge. So if I play these 2 cards, in a simpler way of playing, you just play these and you say, all right, I got 3 energy and 4 movement to work with. But specifically, I have 1 energy with a range of 1 and 2 energy with a range of 2. So I have 2 energy at a range of 2 or 3 energy at a range of 1. So, like, just that hopefully kind of illustrates, like, that this game is potentially a lot more complex if you want it to be. It can be, like the TCG, it can be as simple as play all your cards and just use your numbers, or, like the TCG, it can be, like, a real, like, chewy, crunchy brain bender Especially if they get really creative with upcoming expansion stuff. That's the thing that I got to see now. The only expansion they've confirmed is some kind of expansion that'll add Decepticon characters, and that's all that I know. And then there's the promo pack that adds Jazz and 4 other of these kind of cards. And yeah, a lot of the artwork, if you played the TCG, you will spot some familiar friends throughout this artwork. Although I will say they got Sparkplug and Spike IDW 1 versions. Verity is in here too. I didn't go through all the cards. When I sleeved them face down. I didn't really think about it. And then when I was playing one day, I flipped over a card and it was friggin' Verity Carlo. And I was like, what? So yeah, right here. I caught her. Okay, yeah. So I flipped this over and I was like, wait, you're in this? I like Verity a lot, so that was a moment for me. Also, this is the thing with the Power Rangers deck builder as well, apparently. This insert is actually really good. Like, I sleeved everything, and it's got little built-in dividers and stuff, and a big well for the main deck, and then, like, a big well for characters if they start just releasing character packs or something. So it's a good insert. Anyway, I have a lot of praises to sing about this game. Granted, a lot of it is that it's a decent game that is Transformers, but I think it's also just a really solid deck builder engine. Reckon rule, hell yeah. Oh, Picky Peas, yeah, you should. I had a grin on my face when I flipped the card over. I was like, wait, Verity! Everyone forgets about Verity. I don't think Hunter's in this, I should say. I think it's just Verity and the Witwikis. But I could be wrong. I didn't actually scroll through all the cards to check. Eric, find us a place that lets us play board games, and I'll bring this game and we can play it. But yeah, I'm really excited about potential expansions for this. And I'll show you what they advertise. Like, right, it's actually funny to me that it's literally on the back of the core box. It says right here, playable Decepticons are on the way. It's like, okay, cool, you're saying it, just in case people are getting freaked out. That's great. Also, another thing, there's little standees for the toys, or for the figures, the characters. People have been doing stuff like getting tiny turbo changers to use in place of these, and I think that's really cool. Also, I forgot... This is how out of it I am. I forgot Snakes and Lattes was an Ontario thing. But yeah, the positivity I have for that deck builder is something for a review, I really want to figure out like a nice structured way to talk about it. That's why I'm doing multiple videos, because I also just want to talk about it. But I really want to have a good structured take on it. Because it is something I could easily gush about, and it's a review copy of a game. And I know there is a whole stigma around that kind of thing. I want to treat that with you know, the proper tone and etc. Also, are we talking about the third human everyone forgets? Yeah, okay, because it's not just me. Because I specifically stopped after I said Hunter because I couldn't remember the other guy's name. I just remember he's the guy with the... He joined the military. Jimmy? Was it Jimmy? Because it's Verity Carlo, Hunter Dunyan, and then, yeah, Jimmy Pink? Was it Jimmy Pink? If it's Jimmy Pink, then I'm terrified about the way my memory works. Oh my god, it was Jimmy Pink, wasn't it? Why do I remember that? Every now and then, people ask me when this happens, they're like, why don't you remember things that are, like, useful and profitable? And I'm like, I don't know! You think I choose to remember Jimmy Pink? Think anyone chooses to remember Jimmy Pink? That's always the take I have when the fandom memory question ever comes up. Is I'm just like, if I could do this, like, on my terms, I would be a millionaire right now. It was Jimmy Pink. Thank you, Picky Peeves, for checking on that. But also, damn. The really cursed thing that's going to happen is the next time I play Deck Builder Solitaire, Jimmy Pink's going to be the first card I flip over. And also, he's going to have a word bubble that's going to say, "Hi, Chris," on it. And then he'll reach out of the card and pull me into the card. Then I'll be the card. Be trapped in there forever. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I think I'm going to call the stream on here. I went only 1 hour over projected this time. So go me. But yeah, that was a little bit spur of the moment. I wanted to hang out while I was painting. I wanted that community, well, you know, with me talking in a chat that can't talk to me in voice. But I wanted that semi-social streaming vibe, because it always gives me good creative juices, and it did once again. So thank you all for hanging out. You know, we'll do this again. As I said, upcoming video is Review 420, which I've overhyped. No one's gonna like it, but I want to do it. And then after that's probably going to be Earthrise Sunstreaker, because I've been meaning to do that one for a long time, and I want to do that one because there's a lot that comes from Wheeljack to Sunstreaker to Run Amok. I want to follow that chain. My hint on Review 420 I've given before is that it's the weed number, and so originally I cited Twitter, and then I got this whole big ass list of weed transformers because they're green, and then I looked at it and I was like, this is too much work for review. This is too much work for this, and so I looked around my general vicinity, and I saw this little stack of old toys that for some reason I'd brought here from the mainland, and then one of them immediately gave me the vibe of a crusty stoner going like, "Hey, this is just a scumbag," and I was like, "That's Review 420." So that's my main hint. In fact, the theme is so dissonant. This is not a character that's even known for weed, so a lot of people are probably going to be like, "Why is this Review 420?" And my only explanation is just going to be that I looked at the character and I heard a. It is not a transformer. That's the other hint. That doesn't help. That probably doesn't help. I guess I'll say, even though it'd be a real fun red herring, it is also nothing to do with Kevin Smith. So it's not a Jay and Silent Bob thing. I do have those two figures somewhere buried in the West Coast. The Jay and Silent Bob figures, where the Silent Bob figure had a Jay had a voice chip, so he had a button on the back to say Jason Mewes things. Silent Bob had a button on his back, but no electronics, so you could just push the button, and nothing would happen because he's Silent Bob. That was the joke. Anyway, as I said, thank you all for hanging out. Eric, we gotta do something around here. Eric, I still have things. I have figures I owe you. Hit me up. But yeah, I'll talk to you all later. Take it easy, stay safe. I might do another one of these. I might do one more this month, because I like doing it. And yeah, until next time. Always remember, assume dominance. Assume dominance.